All right. Hello. Hype me up, and let me through there. So subscribe. That's what that means. How's everybody doing? If you're not fully aware that today is lit when it comes to the Browns because the Bengals, Joe Flacco and the Bengals are defeating the Steelers. So at halftime, it was being discussed that Stefanski ought to be fired tomorrow morning. Because how is it that Joe Flacco could go over here to Cleveland and make more touchdowns than he did in the last 10 days? He has more touchdowns than he did since he played in 4 games in Cleveland. It makes Stefanski look bad. Now, it's not lost on me that about a day ago, it was put out in the atmosphere that, will Haslam go and call Peyton Manning, who's also Tennessee alum, right, to come operate the team. Then it was Andrew Berry's fault. Then Myles Garrett is not a leader and yada, yada, yada. Everybody's fault but Stefanski. But since the Manning name was floated in the atmosphere, today, Kevin Stefanski should be fired because Flacco was out here balling against the Pittsburgh Steelers. While I agree, I totally agree, Kevin Stefanski should be fired. I also see the play. I also said that they were going to boot Stefanski out the moment the Manning's name came up. And here we are because Flacco is defeating, and they sent Flacco to the Bengals, knowing the Bengals was getting ready to play the Steelers, yada, 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 right? So the Browns lost to the Steelers. The Bengals are defeating the Steelers. Flacco is over there. So here's what people are saying. Well, maybe send Shedeur over to the Jets so he can ball out. I'm like, not the Jets. But yeah, send him somewhere else so he could ball out and be like Baker Mayfield. So as of tonight, probably 48 hours before, or maybe 72 hours before they played I think in Miami, and the weather's supposed to be 50 to 60 miles per hour with the winds. It's supposed to rain. It's supposed to be an ugly, ugly weather for a game that somebody is going to be fired. Based on the conversation tonight, if the Browns go over there and lose, Stefanski's back is against the wall. If he keep going forward with Dylan and he don't put in Shedeur and they lose, all hell gonna break loose. And I'm like, Stefanski, at this point, are you in on the play that they trying to push you out so they could get the Mannings in? Because that's what they doing. The Manning kid probably not coming out this year. I saw the top 5 Heisman finalists. He not on that list. I saw, they talking about Ty Simpson is now the number 1 player going to the Jets, like the Cleveland Browns trading their number 1 pick to the Jets because the Cleveland Browns have the number 1 pick. And again, I did not see Haslam run over there to Alabama. And also the kid at Ohio State, Julian saying, they saying he's eligible for the draft. Now, I didn't have time to look at that to see if he was or not. They incorrectly said Dante Moore was eligible, but he's listed as a sophomore. So my point is, the Manning's kid's name has left the conversation about being number 1 coming out next year or possibly not coming out next year at all. But in replace of his name, Peyton Manning operating the Browns, then it's Barry's fault. Now it's Stefanski's fault. Let me tell you what it sounds like Haslam getting ready to do. Clean house. And he used Barry and Haslam and Stefanski as a pawn. And the Manning's going to come in and pick their quarterback. They're going to pick their GM. They're going to pick their head coach. And they're going to run that organization. Whether they have partnership, equity, or not. That's what they're being set up for. And a lot of people are not going to complain about that. A lot of people on the Cleveland side of things are not going to complain about that because the Mannings, right? For a lot of people, the Mannings are seen as NFL royalty. That's not how all fans feel, right? But that's how a lot of fans feel. And I would imagine, given the demographics of the Brook Park area where Haslam is trying to go, that's what they're going to be okay with. They're not going to try to run Haslam out of town. He got his way $100 million later, moving to Brook Park, right? So Haslam seems to get his way. And with the Manny's name being floated around in operations, I think people gonna sit back and just let it ride out with a rebuild from now to 2029. So shout out to Flacco, because I said I hope Flacco go out here and beat the osteoporosis off of Aaron Rodgers. And y'all know that's my revenge game, because y'all know Aaron Rodgers blocked Shedeur. So now here's my question. Here's my question. I have a poll out there. So I have a poll out there. There's a local channel in Cleveland that has a poll out there. Shout out to Z for sending it for me. I said, okay, that's what their 3,000 fans are saying, and they're mostly Cleveland people. The loose Shedeur people probably sprinkled in. And I have some commentary based to kind of support what people are saying over there. But then I decided to take a poll on what she said sports. It'll be a smaller size, but we're gonna look to see the differences, knowing we're not Browns fans, right? We support Shedeur Sanders, who's a quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. So we're gonna have a different answer for a different reason. Then again, we might have the same answer. So I noticed the poll is kind of skewing up a little bit. So we're gonna take a look at that. Then, in addition to Kevin Stefanski fire Stefanski expeditiously, if you ask me, he should have been fired at halftime. Because I think last I checked, the score is 27-17. So going into the half, it was 17-20, I believe. Now it's 17-27. And if you ask me, he shouldn't be allowed to come back to work. This would be one of those plays where they already had it set up, knowing that this game was coming, knowing that Flacco could potentially look good, that they already got their other head coach on deck, and that they terminate Stefanski. Now, I'll tell y'all something else before we move on to Skip Bayless. What they're selling in Cleveland, that it's Andrew Berry and Jimmy Haslam versus Stefanski. I'm like, that's BS. I said, that's BS. Haslam playing both sides, because we all know that Dylan is Stefanski's guy. We know that. Stefanski and Haslam, because there's no way Haslam is letting Stefanski or Berry draft the most important position without his agreement, which is why I said it was total BS when he said, when Haslam said, this is Berry's pick on Shedeur. That was the executive branch pick. Let's just, we all know that, right? So I think Haslam shielded himself. He playing them both, right? He playing them both because they know that the operation side of things, the Manny's name has already come up. Then Berry gets blamed. So Berry gonna get tossed. Now the coaching is looking bad, and the fans are starting an uproar. So that gives Haslam an excuse to tell Stefanski, oh, I gotta let you go. And then whoever else they talking to as the next head coach just gonna have to be in line with whatever's going on. And they're not gonna really care because they know the Mannings are coming in. That's what's being sold. It's being sold that Stefanski is the odd man out. He's now being pushed on an island when just after the Rams game, he insisted he was making no changes at quarterback with Flacco. 2 games later, Flacco done played for the Bengals twice and is over there balling out. And now Stefanski is on an island and they ready to push him into the ocean. See, that's why you don't do people's dirty work. That's why you don't be a faithful servant. If you're going to be a faithful servant, it better be to Jesus. And speaking of Jesus, what the hell is wrong with Skip Bayless? Skip Bayless has lost the natural mind that God gave him, because he comes off like he liked Coach Prime, he likes Shedeur, but I've seen some things that make me question he's selling a narrative that belongs to the NFL, and he just doing it on his own podcast because he got fired at least once or twice from the big box channels, right? You can't say you like Coach Prime, but you out here attacking Travis Hunter because he decided to get baptized when he was off. Skip Bayless is getting severe backlash for saying that Travis Hunter is losing interest in the Jaguars because he decided to go get baptized and turn his life over to God Sunday morning, and then showed up on time for whatever they check-in is pregame and to play a game at 1:00. Now, last I checked, Travis is not subservient. He is a damn employee. And like most employees, when I'm off the clock, if I want to go get baptized, if that's the calling God has put on my life, because maybe I'm gonna need it, that's what the hell I'm gonna do. And who the hell is Skip Bayless to question Travis's commitment to his job when he's off the clock and choosing to go dedicate his life to God? Skip Bayless gonna find out just how real God is. Because I did some checking. And I asked AI, what players does Skip Bayless criticize? And Tim Tebow was on that list. And I know Tim Tebow had the same philosophy where he led with God. So you mean to tell me, Skip Bayless, you out here criticizing Tim Tebow and Travis Hunter because they want to dedicate their life to God? So by process of elimination, do you, Skip Bayless, have a problem yourself with God? Because you're going to find out how real God is by you questioning that young man. He ain't no slave. He's off from work. The NFL is a goddamn job. And when he's off the clock, if he feels the calling on his life, then I suggest he heed to it as he did. And how dare you question it? So you're going to question whether or not he should put God first in his life. Who the hell are you? But you're going to find out how real God is. Chastising people because they choose to let God go first, but you claim you like Coach Prime. That's BS. That is absolute BS. Because the same reason people like Coach Prime is exactly what Travis did on his off day. Live a God-centered life. And I know Skip talks about how he had this nanny or caretaker or whatever you want to call it in modern terms that was black that raised him. Yeah, and it makes me think that you think that Travis is a subservient individual. He's off the clock, just like at times your nanny was. He is not subservient. He's not a slave. He's an employee that was off the clock, and he can do with his own time how he damn well pleases. So you have lost your natural mind twice. Well, if you throw in Shannon 3 times. This is what makes me believe he believes the people he claims to like are subservient. And he can somehow exploit them or profit off of them and by talking about them incestuously. But just like he did the same thing to Shedeur. He's sitting on Gil's Arena show, blaming Shedeur for the situation he in, while not holding the NFL accountable, but at some point bragging about having Jimmy Haslam's phone number, but you can't get Jimmy Haslam, your friend, to stop discriminating against your black friend, Coach Prime's son. If you're not trying to stop it, you condoning it. So all this talk about Coach Prime, exploitation. Lil Wayne, exploitation. Shedeur Sanders, exploitation. Seemingly, the only black athlete he liked is Michael Jordan. All the other black athletes get discriminated against or disparaged or disrespected. Skip Bayless is sitting on Gilbert's arenas spreading NFL propaganda. At the same time, Travis Hunter is catching hell from reporters about getting baptized. Skip Bayless comes on his own platform to push the narrative that he cannot possibly be committed to his job, that he's losing interest because he went get baptized. So why y'all want to make Travis' life hard all of a sudden? Because when it was the Heisman and Shedeur was the #1 player coming out of school last year, right around this time, the month of October, you was in love with Shedeur. But then y'all pitted Travis against Shedeur. And then Skip sits up there on Gil's Arena and pit Cam Ward against Shedeur. All these quarterbacks out here. You got to pit Shedeur against Cam Ward by saying if Shedeur had gone to Tennessee, that none of this would have happened in Tennessee instead of Cam. I'm like, would a noose have popped up at the Titan Stadium? They ain't want Shedeur either. He don't want to talk about Callahan and how he was careless with his words and how he was treating their $48 million first round draft pick. Yeah, see, when you work for a company and they decide to go in a particular direction and they decided to go towards Cam and pay him $48 million, regardless of what it is, and the head coach is pushing the narrative that I want it to be Will Levis, I don't want to name you the quarterback, then I'm reluctant to name you the quarterback. And should we have drafted Cam? You out here pushing that narrative in the background while the team losing. You deserve to be fired. Because whoever over there decided to draft Cam is what the decision was. But he couldn't respect that. And then he had to go running off at the mouth and blowing dog whistles. And then that goddamn noose popped up over there at that stadium. Nobody's dumb. But no, Skip don't talk about that. Skip don't hold Callahan accountable. He want to pitch Shedeur against Cam. I'm tired of these people pitting these black players together. Just like Dan Orlovsky. He set up there on ESPN First Take, which I know I wasn't watching, so it just popped up in my feed. And he decides that all of the best targets for black and brown quarterbacks, Spencer Rattler, Justin Fields, and Tua, should go to Pittsburgh and be their wide receiver. And I said, oh, why are you trying to take Justin Fields' main target? Why are you trying to take Chris Olave from the Saints, which is Spencer Rattler's main target? Why are you trying to take Tua's main target and give them to the Steelers, who's leading the division, who's already winning, while these other teams and quarterbacks are trying to elevate? And I said, I noticed, if you say, well, because they in last place, so is Jackson Dart and the New York Giants, and I don't see you trying to disrupt what he got going on and take his main target. This is what disruption looks like. So Skip on Gil's Arena peddling the NFL narrative, which is currently and recently hating on Travis Hunter, when they should be doing what Coach Prime said, giving him more targets on offense and defense. And even when he balled out, they still reduced the number of targets he had. Maybe they pissed off because when they tried to say that Travis only practiced one way and that they developed him on the other side of the ball, that he ain't say nothing. So a reporter goes to Travis and gonna ask him why he decided to get baptized before coming to work or whatever. And he said it was a stupid question. And he's right. I think Travis has realized that they coming for him too. Because why are we asking people about getting baptized? If you know anything about getting baptized as an adult, 9 times out of 10, it was a calling and you answered it. And if he answered it, it's because...
Did you get baptized this morning?
Yes.
Why did you do that?
It's a crazy question. Why did I get baptized?
Why did you choose to go to church this morning?
Why did
Sunday.
you choose to go to church this morning? You heard that? Why did you choose to go to church this morning? Who's out here asking these questions? Why are you asking him about, can he not go to church? Should he not go to church? Is there something wrong with going to church? Do you see the kind of questions this young man is getting? Because the Jags can't lie and make Coach Prime look inefficient like they developed Travis and he don't have nothing to say. So now he getting all these crazy questions and Skip is echoing it because maybe he trying to get back on the network show too. Because we said that's what they do, right? If you're a friend of Coach Prime, like you say, you wouldn't berate Travis that way and question why he dedicated his life to God. And if you was a God-fearing man, you would never open up your mouth, part your lips, and say such. You would respect him. I don't even know if I would ask about it because that's personal. But every time black players want to do something personal, people got to be nosy. Remember when Jalen Hurts had a conversation with Shedeur? And they had to know what it was about. Why? You can't respect these men as men and respect their privacy and their personal lives? Did he get baptized at the stadium in the pool? He went to church, something a lot of people do. So what's the big deal? Is it a slow news day?
Did you get baptized this morning?
Yes.
Why did you do that?
It's a crazy question. Why did I get baptized?
Why did you choose to go to church this morning?
Sunday. It's God's day, and I've been planning to get baptized for a minute. I want to change my life over, become a better man.
What does it mean to you?
It means a lot. Becoming a better man, leaving my old flesh, and just becoming the new Travis.
And I totally respect that, right? Like, why is that a topic of conversation? This is Skip. This is what people are going to him on him about.
So Allow me to tell you why there was no way that Travis Hunter should have chosen to be baptized on the morning of a 1 o'clock game in Jacksonville, where he plays, obviously, for the Jaguars. Not under normal circumstances, but here's the point. These are not normal circumstances for Travis Hunter, the football player.
What?
The Jags are using him so little, especially on defense, where he is the most gifted, all-time gifted, that Travis Hunter is starting to lose interest. He's starting to check out mentally on.
All right, that's enough. Who told him this? Who told Skip that Travis Hunter was losing interest because he decided to dedicate his life and let God lead? That's making God trivial. That's trivializing God. And my question is, if you had an issue with Tim Tebow, and now you have issue with Travis getting baptized, and they both are God-centered men, what's your real problem? Do you have a problem with God? What's your faith? Do you go to church, synagogue, temple, or whatever it is? Do you go somewhere and worship? It's basically making Travis dedicating his life to God something else to do because work is not going the way I thought it would. That's wrong. That's wrong. And what people should realize, including Gil's Arena, and he need to find somebody else to work with, this your op right here. This your op. Because we talk about how it is that these big box channels parrot the NFL's narrative because they still want access. Skip might have been fired, but he still wants access. And during the same week, when they asking Travis ridiculous questions, he's not getting the targets, even though he's shown he's the guy. They have an agenda. And Skip is a part of it. And he's pushing a narrative. Just like on Gil's Arena, he pushes the narrative that it's Shedeur's fault. That how he behaved doing this, rather than holding the owners accountable for taking him off the board and colluding against him. I think we thought Skip beratement of Shannon Sharp was bad. I don't know if y'all understand how bad it is to push this narrative that this young man went and get baptized because he losing interest on his job. How about you hold the Jaguars accountable and say, well, why, if you say you want to win, do you have a player that you can have on both sides of the ball that you traded up to get the number 2 overall spot? Why is it you don't have him play more? And if you're a friend of Coach Prime, like you said, why don't you echo what Coach Prime said? But no, he felt the need to question Travis's devotion to God and make it seem like Travis is distracted by God. I don't understand if y'all know. When I say this man is an op, yes, the word opposition comes to mind, but so does the word oppressor. Your oppressor, Gil's Arena, cannot help you succeed long term. They can only come over and tear down everything you've built. So we'll check in on the game and then get back to the rest of our conversation. All right, the score has changed. It is 30-24. So again, it looks like people keep an eye on this game. The Bengals are up. Let's see what Joe Flacco is 28 of 42 reps. Aaron Rodgers only has 29, 176 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Flacco is 28 of 42, 281 yards, 3 touchdowns. Neither team is really running the ball. 10 carries for Chase and 16 carries for Jalen. So they made it a shootout for the most part, with Flacco leading right now. And DK Metcalf, the receiver, 3 receptions. Now, Jamar Chase is getting some looks, right? He's getting some looks. So it's not a run game, but Jamar Chase is up there. And he is one of the best receivers, right? So shout out to Flacco. I'm convinced all of this conversation, people starting to pile up against Stefanski makes me believe that maybe Flacco forced his way out. because today they were also trying to sell in Cleveland that Flacco and Barry are not on the same page, that there's friction between. So there's friction between Barry and Flacco. No, Barry and Stefanski. And then they want you to believe that Barry and Haslam are on the same page. Stefanski is the odd man out. Right? We shall see. I know I'm just over here cheering for Flacco. 30-24. Let's see. It's the fourth quarter, 5 minutes and 16 seconds left. It's close. We're gonna see what happens. Cincinnati have the ball. We'll check back in later on. Okay. So this was another quote right here with an example. And I know Gil's Arena, people liked it because we said we want these athletes to have their own shows. Yes, I want you to have your own shows, but allowing people to come push a narrative against players that look like you, which is really just the NFL narrative, is not the goal. It's just not the goal, right?
I think that's what.
I mean, they didn't win national championship.
I mean, Shedeur and them didn't either.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
But
they
listen,
they
the
completely
odds
turned
against
around.
Shedeur at Jackson State and then coming to Colorado where they were a doormat.
I mean, they completely turned around the team that they went to. You know what I'm saying? The team was flat and damn near dead, and they brought it back to life. So I feel like Cam Ward does have that ability, and I feel like that's why him and Shedeur, they kind of clicked. That's why that's what they got in common. That's why they're so close, because they both kind of got that charisma to turn the team around. You know what I'm saying? So,
I agree with that too. I mean, when you watch Cam Ward on film, he makes some throws that not a lot of guys can make, and he has these arm angles that you don't learn.
So at this point, I think this show is somebody must have asked Gil to start a show because he had a lot of clout in the YouTube space, and they just somehow turned the microphone over to people from the NFL. That's what it's given. It just, remember the NFL Network sold off their network to ESPN, but this way, Gil's Arena, who's basketball, started talking about football, and now we got people on here pushing these ridiculous narratives, pitting Shedeur against Cam, instead of saying they are both good. That Cam and Shedeur should have been drafted number 1 and number 2 as predicted. To want to belittle Cam, to try to elevate Shedeur, that's not the goal. That's not the goal at all. So this is the game coming up. Both teams are 1 and 5, and the loser gets fired. And somebody decided to put Shedeur down here to celebrate. I think everybody knows at this point Shedeur should be playing. So we'll see what happens. If some people say they're going to the game, let me know your thoughts if you're going to the game or not. I wasn't planning, to watch it, but just let me know your thoughts. So I told y'all that there was a poll out there with some people who were following Chat Sports, and that I think Z sent it over to me. So I think they had like 3,000 votes, and I said, okay, so I know what I'm gonna do, right? They have 3,000 votes, so I'm gonna go ahead and share it with my audience, but I'm going to poll my audience to see basically what they decided to do in terms of what my fans think, right? What my supporters think. So let's see if I can find it, because I thought it was good. I think most of them, the question was, should Shedeur Sanders play on Sunday? I think that was the question. And I know, here it is right here. All right, so that's the question. Should Shedeur Sanders play on Sunday? Take this off and put this back, and then share those comments. And then y'all get to see what they say. And I think I shared what she said, sports community said. All right, so as you could see right here. All right, this is the poll. Z sent this to me early in the day. I'm sure the numbers have changed, but it's a good sample, right? It's a good sample. It says, Browns report by Chat Sports. This was 5 hours ago. It said, and that was when I got it. So that was early in the day. So they answered it quick. 3,000 people voted. Should the Browns start Shedeur Sanders? These are mostly Browns fans. It might be some Shedeur Sanders fans sprinkled in, but these are mostly Browns fans. And they said 78% of them said yes. and only 22% said no. Now, on my poll, I extended the verbiage to go beyond yes or no to kind of see what people were thinking. So let's see if we can find that one. So this is what I meant when I said the caption said the Browns fans are speaking up, because I don't hear a lot of talk about Dylan no more. I saw one post say, Dylan has only played 2 games. And I was like, and? I'm like, he played 64 or 63 in college. That's enough. Despite what the hell it is that Drew Brees was selling. Let me tell you what Drew Brees was selling. Okay. He said rookies, quarterbacks need 50 starts, 50 high level. Keyword is high level. 50 high level starts. That includes the NFL. So I went and checked to see where Dylan went to school, because I knew he was in school for 6 years or something like that. So he played, looked like 3 years at USF. Then he went to Oklahoma for 2 seasons, seemingly, and then Oregon. Now, Drew Brees said they need 50 high-level starts to be good, trying to justify why Dylan should keep playing, even though Dylan was in school for 6 years, played 63, 64 games. The key word is high level. Which school do you think that they don't consider high level play? The one he was at for 3 years, which means he's only played 2 games. Give him 3 more years. That's 25, 26, and 27. And guess who coming out of school at 27? 26 or 27. You see how the timing lines up to go from Dylan to the Manning kid? You see the running around pushing the narratives on all these other podcasts. So here's what's happening, guys. We have podcasters that are doing really well, that have audiences, that have curated audiences like Shannon Sharp. Because why? He tells the truth, something that they can't talk about on these big box channels. They can't tell the truth like that. But that's how their audience grew so rapidly, because it's a breath of fresh air, right? So it's a breath of fresh air that you could tell the truth. And when your audience gets into the close to 1 million, here come the biggest box channels trying to get you on their network or get you to be a talking head for them, which controls what you say. Because when you sign a contract, I'm sure there's a morality clause. You can't go back to your own show and say certain things. First, we saw it with Shannon. Now we're seeing it with Cam. Now we're seeing it with Gil's Arena. And they did one better with Gil's Arena. They put people on there, on those shows, to do the talking rather than just the sponsorships, so their voices can be heard on these popular podcast platforms, thereby silencing the truth. That's why you got to look for the play when they come for you. And look at what ended up happening to Shannon. And now Cam is moving on. He got ESPN and BET, right? And then he got his own show. So, Cam said something, I think, on ESPN, and he was speaking the truth, and people thought he was going to have to walk it back. I don't know if he had to walk it back or not. But it'll be interesting, the partnership. It'll be interesting, the dynamic between his own show, because he has 2 shows. And they both are good. He has his 2 shows. He's on BET and he's on ESPN. With ESPN and BET, which is Viacom, I think, being corporate, it'll be interesting to see what he can do on his own shows going forward. Because why? He's that popular. But you give up your voice when you sign their contracts. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We shall see. All right, let's see if we can get to my poll. Let's see. All right. So I had a poll in here. Let's see if I can get it. Hold on one second. So I'm going to see. I think last time I checked, I think I put it in the comments too, so y'all can look at it there. Let's see. My profile. So our numbers, again, we are actually mostly Shedeur Sanders fan, Coach Prime fan. It might be a Browns fan sprinkled in here, there. I know Selmo is a Browns fan, right? I know Selmo is a Browns fan. So it's a few Browns fans sprinkled in, but by and large, we are not Browns fans. So let's see. All right. I'll just pull it up. So we'll just share it. The score is 31-30 for fourth quarter, 2 minutes, 21 seconds. Pittsburgh got the edge at the last minute. And I don't know who has the ball, but we shall see. It looked like Pittsburgh just scored. So one point game, guys. 1 point game with 2 minutes left. Which y'all think gonna happen? I think Pittsburgh gonna win. But it was a good showing for Flacco, and I think that was the point. I think that's all that was expected. That Flacco wasn't the problem. Baker Mayfield wasn't the problem. Shedeur is not the problem. Is Dylan the problem, or is it all Stefanski? I think Stefanski choosing Dylan, knowing Dylan wasn't a true quarterback. All fingers are going to point at him for picking somebody that wasn't a good quarterback, which is saying he doesn't know talent. That's essentially what that's saying. All right, so I can share our poll. All right, I hope y'all remember. They were overwhelmingly wanted Shedeur to play. I think ours is a little closer, guys. Ours is a little closer. All right, so you can see my screen. All right. It says, tell us should Shedeur Sanders, should the Browns start Shedeur Sanders with Miami this Sunday? We have 54 votes. It said, heck yeah, Shedeur can win versus Miami, 57%. And it said, nah, not if Stefanski is still the head coach, 43%. Do you see how close it is? So they had a much wider disparity. So that means they're not looking at the coach. They're looking strictly at the quarterback. So that means the Browns fans have come to the realization that the best quarterback is Shedeur Sanders. On our poll, which is mostly Shedeur Sanders fans, shows concern for Shedeur because we're like, yes, he should play because he can win, but maybe he shouldn't because Stefanski is still the head coach, and that could not be good. That might not be good for Shedeur. So this is why I did it that way. You take the temperature in two different environments, right? And then you look at what they care about. The Browns fans just want to win. They know Dylan not it. They ready to move on to Shedeur. We know Shedeur can win, but we have the concern that with Stefanski as the head coach, it could be once again problematic for Shedeur like it was with the Rams game, meaning he could get set up to get hurt or he could get set up to fail. So that was the difference in the polls. That's what I wanted y'all to see. All right, so let me see what y'all are saying about all of this. Your thoughts about, what's really taking place. Whether it's about Skip, it could be about Coach Prime and the scrimmage that they just had. I was looking at the little footage of that. Juju did really well. He made, what they say, something out of nothing. There was some bad snapping going on. And he still made a play, made a complete pass. So shout out to Coach Prime for actually having a scrimmage for players that don't play or that are thinking about hopping into the transfer portal. And y'all told me it was true. I did see Brett Bertolone on the side calling the plays. So hopefully that's a sign that he's going to be calling the plays going forward. Because the complaint that they have about Kevin Stefanski's plays being predictable are the same complaints that we have. All right, there's 187 of us in here. Let's check in with the comments and see what's going on. Hey, everybody. Hey, Nikki. Hey, Gail. Hey, Sharon. Hey, Tina. How you doing? Talisa. Hey, Turner. How you doing? How you doing? Gail said that's what Mike Tomlin didn't want. What, for the Steelers to win? It looked like the Steelers going to win, though. What the score is, currently 31-30, 2 minutes and 15 seconds left, and Cincinnati does have the ball. So they can have the ball for the final possession. Let's see if they can get into field goal range. I'll share it on my screen so y'all can see while we go through the comments what's going on. That way y'all can see it too. All right. So you can see it right here on the screen. All right. All right. I'm over here to the left. Okay. So, all right. There you go. All right. So it said Flacco balling. Yes, Flacco is balling. Gail, it looks like Pittsburgh is back in the lead. So we'll see if the Bengals can get into playoff, not playoff, but what's that field goal range? It said Flacco showing out. And yes, Kevin needs to be fired expeditiously. Facts, Talisa. Facts. It said the game is on Cleveland Queen. What's that, Anthony? Oh, okay. They're not playing in Miami. They're playing in Cleveland with 50 mile per hour winds. That's why I thought it was Miami. Okay. All right. It's a home game. Oh, okay. Well, I thought Shedeur might get a chance to go to Miami. So it's a home game. And the weather's supposed to be that bad? Okay. We'll see what happens. It said, did you see Ramsey talking stuff to Shedeur? He wasn't talking trash to Shedeur. He wasn't talking trash to Shedeur. He was like, you need to be out here playing. That's what he was saying. And he was right. It said Flacco looking real good versus the Steelers. Yep, that's good. And I'm sure people knew. And I don't know. I can't tell if Flacco was pushed out or if he asked to leave, but I feel like he wanted to leave. And I don't think they could stop it. It says Cincinnati Bengals is better than Cleveland Browns. Flacco looks like an MVP. Damn. And he just got over there. What's that, 2 games in? It said Kevin got all types of pressure on him now. Right, CJ. He being pressured from all sides while Haslam just sit in the back and smoke his cigars or something. Yep. It says Shedeur has raised the profile of Joe Flacco. I wouldn't be watching him tonight. Huh? What's that? What's that, Tony? I mean, honestly, I never had a Flacco problem with Flacco starting and Shedeur playing. I never had a problem with that. I never had a problem with it. If that's what they want to do, that's fine. I know he could have came in as a starter, but for them to draft him 5th round and immediately make him QB1 after the summer, that wasn't going to never happen because they said 5th round quarterbacks can't even pick their jersey number. And how was it that they could even compete as a 5th round player for QB1? They couldn't. They sold them false hope. It said move 12 on and I go as well. Right. Wherever he go, we go. That's facts. Oh, that's what one of the guys was saying on Gil's Arena. This is why I said, Gil's Arena, you got to do better about the people you have sitting up here. I'm going to let y'all hear it. I'm going to let y'all hear this because I was like, you did not say that. This is what I mean by your oppressor will not help you succeed. They didn't come to help you succeed. They came to put their voice back to control the narrative. And you having your own show, it's futile if you just going to let them ruin it with, their own narrative, which is false. It's crazy. Let me see. Hold on one second. I'm going to let y'all listen to this. And again, I don't even watch this show. I don't even follow this show. I saw it when it first came on. I think we talked about it. Shout out to Gil for starting his own show. But you can't let your oppressor take over your show. And you starting your own show so you could tell your truth, but they telling, they making you look bad. So first Skip was on there and talking about, Cam and Shedeur, but then there was the other guy over there. Listen to this. Now, they already talking about how Jackson Dart, got all of this swag and stuff like that, right? Listen to this right here, y'all. Listen to this right here. All right.
You start Shedeur, I promise you, that stadium and that team and that offense, whether it goes great or it doesn't, at very least, you're going to get the Jackson Dart effect that the Giants
you will.
had
That's a good
in New York, where they said, all right, we got a shot. I believe in this guy.
And you got to do it at home right now. You got a home game.
A winnable home. It's
a winnable home.
Yeah, you start Shedeur, I promise you, that stadium and that team and that offense, whether it gost great or it doesn't, at very least, you're going to get the Jackson Dart effect that the Giants
you will.
had.
That's a good.
The what effect? The Jackson Dart effect? Did we not see Shedeur fill out an entire goddamn stadium in Carolina? Do they mean the Shedeur Sanders effect at home instead of in Carolina? So I told y'all that the replay of the highlights of that game is at 2.5 million. The original airing of the entire game, 1.9 million people saw it. Probably more watched it. The highlights are 2.5 million. The Jackson Dart effect, this is exactly what I'm talking about. So you got Skip up there saying, Shedeur, the reason this happened to him because of how he acted in this. Then he pitting Cam, 2 black quarterbacks together, and now the Jackson Dart effect. It's the Shedeur Sanders effect. This is exactly what I'm saying. You don't go start your own platform and allow this to happen. You don't. Do anybody else not understand why this is problematic? Let me know if y'all understand why I'm saying Gil's Arena allowing this. This is problematic. This might as well be Fox or ESPN. Because no, it's the Shedeur Sanders effect. This is why you have your own show. This is why Odell Beckham Jr. was able to be truthful about why he was sent to Cleveland to die and his career to end. And everybody else can go, oh, that's what they did to Shedeur. That's what they did to Deshaun Watson. Yeah. That's what they did to Tyrod Taylor. That's what they did to Deshaun Kaiser. Yeah. And now you can see the discrimination against black quarterbacks that go to Cleveland. Yes, they have a revolving door. But the discrimination didn't happen against Baker Mayfield. It didn't happen against Johnny Manziel. It didn't happen against Flacco. He got out. They were allowed to get out. This is a problem. The Jackson Dart effect. Somebody should be sitting there going, no, it's saying exactly what I said. You mean the Shedeur Sanders effect? Because Shedeur Sanders had this effect against the Carolina Panthers and be able to spout off the views of the highlights and who was at the game and who watched the game. That's the Shedeur Sanders effect that he can bring to the home stadium. That's the problem. That's a problem. Whether people know it or not, it's a problem. So let me know. And when I get to that part of the comments, you let me know. And this is it right here. Make it make sense. Shedeur is arrogant. And these two have swag. Well, they think Scatterboo's a little cray. But Jackson Dart has swag. What number does Jackson Dart wear? So this is what I mean by this is the narrative they're pushing. And they did this to Shedeur all throughout the draft. They mistreated him when they got to Cleveland. I told y'all they was holding him back because Jackson Dart had not bloomed yet. And Cam Scatterboo is the star of that team. And people are saying if Stefanski go out there and start Shedeur and bow to the pressure, he's fired. Because if he go out here and looking good and the Browns do well, and Jackson Dart still does not, and Cam Scatterboo, they struggling. Exposing themselves in the draft was futile. Do not ever forget that element is the main play. All right. So I'll tell y'all before we get back to the comments. So from the poll, what they had the Browns fans, this was one comment I wanted to share with y'all. Somebody said, Olin said, I will not be attending the game Sunday against the Miami Dolphins. I don't know why I thought it was in Miami. It said, I am a season ticket holder and live in Columbus. I will not continue to drive 2 hours up and 2 hours back to watch this horrific offense. And I blame Kevin Stefanski. This is his offense, and this is his hand-picked quarterback, meaning Dylan. At least give Shedeur Sanders a fair shot. Let Tommy Reese, the offensive coordinator, call the plays. Stefanski is supposed to be a good quarterback, offensive guru. False. Out of all the quarterbacks that he's had since he's been here, which one has he developed? In parentheses, it says, I'll wait. It says his offense is so predictable and pathetic. He needs to go ASAP. Let Jim Schwartz be the interim coach for the remainder of the season. So that's one person that was, I don't know if they took the poll or not, but they speak to the high volume of, yes, Shedeur should start against Miami. These are the Browns fans speaking up. The media is not going to report this. The Browns podcasters is probably the only place you're going to get to see what the fans think if you go through the comments. Otherwise, they don't have a platform to share their voice other than not showing up at the game. And they keep saying the weather going to be bad, so I don't know what's going to happen. And this is another one. Now, listen to this one. I only got two. This is the second one, the last one. It says, Brock says, no, trade Shedeur to the Jets so you can FAFO that you have another Baker Mayfield, a star. So Brock says, when asked if Shedeur Sanders should start on Sunday, no. In other words, he deserved to be traded and moved on. And y'all gonna find out in Cleveland that y'all had another Baker Mayfield, which means you had a good quarterback under Stefanski, and he tried to ruin him or ruin his career. Now, remember, it was supposedly said that Stefanski was thinking about handing over the headset to Tom Reese, but then must have been after some behind-the-scenes conversation, he said he decided to go against that, which means he was putting it out there that y'all could have this headset. And they're like, no, you go ahead. You go ahead. This is why I say they set him up too. They know they don't want to get another coach because they're going to have to get somebody that's okay with holding back Shedeur Sanders. And that's not a lot of people. That's not a lot of people. Maybe Callahan. Don't be surprised he pop up in there. They already mentioned his name. So while it is that you'll hear Mary Cabot saying, you know, Shedeur's looks good on the scout team. His accuracy is unbelievable, this, that, and the other. She also like, well, maybe we could get Callahan. No, he was a problem in Tennessee. Callahan and Stefanski have the same damn problem. So Skip is incorrect. He's deflecting from why it is Callahan is gone. Because if 16 to 32 is a priority, and I have a head coach who's out here saying negative things about the quarterback, a news pops up at the stadium, and we're lose because I think, you know, that's the way to get rid of him. And I'm saying, you know, got the media talking about why it is we should have kept Will Levis, even though Will Levis failed. Because you don't want a black quarterback. They ain't want Shedeur either. They wanted to trade that pick. But because Browns traded their pick, they both could have traded their pick, but then maybe it would have looked obvious that neither one wanted a black quarterback. And since that was the Giants' problem, which is why they drafted Abdul Carter first, they didn't want to look racist. So when Cam said they were AZZ, he was correct. And surprisingly, the Titans decided to roll with a $48 million back. Or they knew that Callahan's words were callous, and that's why that noose was out there, and that became a liability, and you got to go. Because just like Orlovsky, Dan Orlovsky is trying to move out Spencer Rattler's main target, trying to move out Justin Fields' main target and Tua's main target, even though he's not trying to move Jackson Dart target and disrupt him. It said that Calvin Ridley, who is Cam Ward's main target, is on the chopping block. Seemed like a little retaliation to me. The coach gets fired. You don't seem to have a problem with it. So we're going to move away your main target and make it harder for you. But Cam Ward also has Restrepo. And people in Tennessee and fans of the Titans are pushing for the Titans to give Restrepo a shot. There's a lot going on, guys. There's a lot going on. All right, so let's see here. Let's get back to the comments. We're going to get back to what y'all was saying. It said Flacco talking big smack in the game. What? Flacco talking smack in the game. Let's see if we go back to that one. All right. Ooh, he scored. Oh, the game is over. Oh my God. The Bengals won. Can y'all see my screen? Oh my God. Y'all, the Bengals won. Oh my God. They pulled it off. Let me share. Let me take this out. Oh my gosh. The Bengals won. Oh my goodness. I just knew Pittsburgh was going to win. Y'all, the Bengals are now 2-4. Oh my gosh. They won. What? Y'all, that's crazy. I just knew that. I was like, okay, they got to try to get into field goal position. They were 30 points. Now they must have got down there. Wow. Flacco is directing that offense, ain't he? Ooh, I tell you. Y'all, what y'all think about that? That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. I said Flacco out here balling. What? What? That's crazy. That's crazy, y'all. That's crazy. They won, y'all. 33. Oh my God. Well, what are y'all thinking? What are y'all thinking? They won. Oh my goodness. I was not expecting that. I was not. Let me see the rest of the stats. Let's see. Let's look at the team stats. Let's see. Here we go. All right. So this how they got it done. Ooh, 470 total yards. 328 through the air for Flacco. Not bad for Mr. 40-year-old QB. Aaron Rodgers, 249. 147 rushing versus 142. Not bad. Pretty balanced game on both sides. 7.3 yards for Pittsburgh, but they still can't get it done to 6.5 yards. What? First downs, 27 versus 19. Okay. Total plays, 72. That's a lot of football versus 54. Penalties. The Bengals were kind of disciplined, 435 versus 7-59. Interceptions. There you go, right there. That's 2 points. That's 2 scores. That's 14 points technically, or 10, depending on if you want to say a touchdown and a field goal. Time of possession. The Bengals had the ball for 34 minutes versus 25. Y'all, I did not see this coming. I did not. People said it was the AARP Bowl. That's crazy. That's crazy. 19 of 29 attempts. So he had 29 attempts, 19 carries. Is that right? 17 yards, 173 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's good. He protected the ball. Chase had 84 yards for 7 carries. Samaj and then Joe Flacco himself, 1 carry for 2 yards. So he ran for a hot second. Receiver Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, okay. Noah and Andre and Chase. Let's see. All right. Leading defender 5 of 3. It's not bad, but it's not exceptional. I heard their defense wasn't good anyway. So shout out to Flacco. Shout out to Flacco. Now we need Shedeur to get the hell on out of Cleveland. I told y'all, what did I say before? It's Shedeur or Stefanski. Somebody got to go. If they want to keep Stefanski, Shedeur gotta go. If they want to keep losing, then Shedeur gotta go. It said the Bengals won. Yes. It said Shedeur cannot play with Stefanski, an old, outdated playbook. Yes, your facts. It said Browns front office looking real bad tonight. Yes, Joseph. Yep, totally agree. It said this is all the proof we need. This is it. So who gotta go? Stefanski or Shedeur? Baker got out and went on to be successful. Flacco got out, going on to be successful. If Shedeur get out, he will go on to be successful. The pattern is there. The problem is Stefanski and Haslam, because Haslam hired Stefanski and refuses to fire him. It has been said that Stefanski should have been gone 2 years ago. And did y'all know that Callahan and Stefanski had the same record when Callahan got fired? 1-5 this year and 3-14 last year. And the fact that the Titans moved on from problematic Callahan and Haslam will not move on from Stefanski, that tells the fans they better find them some new ownership in that with that team. So that's it. That's it. This proves everything. That Stefanski's the problem. The ball is in Haslam's court. You either let Shedeur play or you trade Shedeur. That's it. You keep Stefanski if you want to, but you trade Shedeur. Flacco talked trash after his last touchdown. What? Not Flacco talking trash. It said this showed how the Browns hold people back. And what did I say yesterday after we listened to Odell Beckham Jr.? I said what? That he said they sent him there to die. And then we're talking about Shedeur, Deshaun, and all the other players. And what happens to the black players' careers as opposed to Mayfield and Manziel and Flacco. Yeah, it's a detention center for black players. They hold back the white players too, but they don't discriminate. Just like in the draft. They colluded against Quinn Ewers, but did they discriminate against him? Did they humiliate him? No. That's the big difference because I can get you that money back. I put you over there behind Tua. We trying to move him out the way. They trying to take his main target, which no, they trying to move him out the way too. And then Quinn Ewers gets up there and probably get a new contract or an extension as well. I can always get you the money back. But can I always get you back? Can I always give you back your dignity? Can I always undo how you felt and how people perceive you and how you feel about yourself after I humiliate you and degrade you and try to bury you on the death chart? Collusion is one thing. Discrimination is another. And Shedeur got them both. And he not the only one. If you go to Cleveland and you black, Lord, help you. Especially if you're a quarterback. It said Flacco had 342 yards and 3 touchdowns. Crazy. It said, I was praying they would win. Flacco had a real coach. Yep. And people have been wondering about the Bengals. So, what does this say that Flacco can get out here and win? Were they winning before? Maybe they were winning before, right? So what you think gonna have Flacco play out the rest of this year and send him to another team next year? Or is he done? Aaron Rodgers is supposedly done. Let me know. Let me know your thoughts. It was fun. It was fun to track that game. It was on Amazon Prime. They say it was actually a better platform to watch the game. Bengals 3-4 win Flacco. Shout out to Flacco. Joe almost had 400 yards on a almost 400 yards. That's crazy. Free 12. There you go. So Joseph is saying free Shedeur. That and it might be what it need to be because Haslam seems to be particular about Stefanski. So maybe trade Shedeur becomes what we say going forward. But now that there's polls out there, how do y'all feel now about Shedeur starting under a Stefanski offense Sunday in Cleveland? It would be to save Stefanski's reputation. That's it. But that means he could have a good game if you think. So now Stefanski needs Shedeur to save his reputation because it's trash. I don't even know who would hire him or Dylan after, right now. People saying, oh, Dylan is a good backup. No. No. That's what he was supposed to be in Cleveland, and it's not working. It said this could have been Shedeur with the Bengals. Yep. Now, what did I say? I said this. I said, they could have had Shedeur, but they don't want Shedeur to upstage Joe Burrow. So I know why they didn't get Shedeur. But in reality, they could have. Shedeur could be on any one of these teams out here who missed a quarterback. They didn't have to get Carson Wentz off their couch. They could have had Shedeur go over there to Minnesota. They had Shedeur to show up J.J. McCarthy. That's his spot. See, everybody got a spot but Shedeur. And that's shameful because we all know he going to get out here and ball out. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm going to get to that section. Now that you see that Joe Flacco getting away from the Stefanski offense and balling and won against the Steelers, who the Browns just lost to. Should Shedeur play on Sunday? Let me know. Now, keep in mind, even though Stefanski's job might not be on the hot seat, his reputation is toast. And Shedeur getting out and looking good would help Stefanski. But Shedeur getting out there and getting set up like he did with the Rams, I think people will continue to go in on Stefanski. I think they would see through the rules that you are doing this. You are the problem. We know Shedeur is good. Let me know your thoughts. Half a dozen in one hand, half a dozen in the other. What's the benefit for Shedeur? I guess that's really what you got to think about. It says Shedeur needs to get out. It said that's coaching. Yep, the coach makes a difference. Facts. It said Flacco had 0 interceptions. That says a lot. That says a lot. A lot. I thought Restrepo got cut. Oh, he's still over there. I think they had signed him back after, they cut everybody because I checked. Nope, he over there. I saw him catching passes today. And I don't know why it is they would want to separate. Well, yes, I do. Yes, I do. I was like, why you cut Restrepo? Now I know why you cut Restrepo. Because Callahan, he did not want, what's his name? Cam to succeed. The new interim coach said Cam has a burning desire to win. About 3 games back, I was looking at the game and looking through the comments. The fans are like, Cam is out here balling. And despite the bad coaching, that's why the coach is gone. And that Noose over there too. I'm not the only one that realized that. And that when Cam said they were AZZ, he was like, Cam need to watch his words. I'm like, no, you need to watch your words because you started this. See, he don't want to watch his words. He problematic like Stefanski. Bet good money on it. Good money. That's why he gone. Stefanski next. It just might not be right now, but we're going to see what happens. I know one thing. If he puts Shedeur in a hazardous situation, he better find a way to win. That's all I can say. He better find a way to win. And you know what I think you're going to have to do? They were resting their veteran, which is crazy. Boitano, I think he must be coming back. And that might be the difference maker. They're going to try to shore up the O-line for Dylan so he could be somewhat successful. They probably going to run the ball with Quishon Junkins. And, the game might get propped up a little bit. And they might win. And then maybe that'll subdue people. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Fire Kevin. Yes. Different coach, different results. Facts. Stefanski and Barry need to go today. Hell, take Haslam with you. They were talking about on one of those stations up there, I think it was the ESPN one, saying that they need to get this curse off of the Cleveland Browns. I'm like, you're going to have to get rid of the owner first because y'all not cursed. Your environment is toxic. The Browns were not built for winning. Nobody will hire Kevin Stefanski to win football games. But what does he seem to be good at? That's why the team is toxic. It's not cursed. It's toxic. From the inside out, it's rotten to the core. And the owner is the reason. It said, you just go get out of Cleveland. You got to get out of Cleveland to prosper. It looks like that. I wonder how Myles Garrett feels because his defensive coordinator said he don't have a problem. He supports Myles Garrett expressing his frustrations. So Myles Garrett has expressed his frustration. Boitano came on camera and said, there's no infighting. It's all good. Offense lying versus defense telling the truth. Toxic, rotten to the core. I tell you what, Shedeur get out of Cleveland, Lord have mercy. And I feel sorry for anybody else that get drafted there. It said that's an indictment on Cleveland and Stefanski. Yes, it is, Willie. Yes, it is. Full. Yes, it is. It says fires. Sugar Creek is crazy. Sugar Creek said fire Stefanski. That's all I can say on camera. It said Cleveland is a graveyard, is what I think. A graveyard, a detention center, same thing, right? Same thing. And now that former Browns players are coming out to talk about it. We had the one video with the one guy in Manziel. Now we got Odell Beckham Jr. I don't know who we're going to get next. All I know is Greg Newsome is somewhere happily playing with his kids, his daughter, and celebrating in Jacksonville that he gone. That's why I said I think Barry must have liked him. That's what I said because I think he moved him out. They swapped for the same position, the same exact position, and they both started. Oh, they got somebody that wasn't a starter. I think he might be trade capital. That must be what it is. But Newsome went to start in Jacksonville. It said Ward and Restrepo work well together. Right. So why is it that Callahan split up Ward and Restrepo in the same way that Cleveland split up Shedeur and Geesh? And Geesh is still out this week. That's another thing. So if Shedeur play, he don't even have Geesh. And from what I hear, I don't think Shedeur get no first team reps. Sound like he's still working with the scout team. See, they're not talking about that. Come to find out, they're only allowed to see certain portions of the practice. So they can't really get the whole picture. But Mary Cabot said Shedeur looks good with the scout team. So that makes me believe he's not getting first team reps. I say keep rolling with Dylan and just get Shedeur somewhere else. Just get Shedeur somewhere else. But I don't even know if that can happen because, the owners took him off the board. But the Titans fired Callahan, so that's some hope. Things do change. 1 sack. He was only sacked one time, B. Thomas. That's pretty good. That's real good. We're going to see. It said the retaliation from the coaching staff will be too much. What, if Shedeur play? Okay. I just think that, like, Tommy Reese seemed like he wanted Shedeur to play, right? He was very transparent. Stefanski's the problem. And I've said it before. Either Shedeur stays and Stefanski goes, I mean, it's got to be like that. Or Shedeur go and Stefanski stay. It said Cleveland made a boneheaded move by trading Flacco. I think Flacco wanted out. I think Flacco wanted out, or they retaliated against Flacco for gravitated towards Shedeur. And if I look at several people gravitate towards Shedeur and they got cut, I could use that too. I think Flacco wanted out. And I don't think it was nothing they could do to stop it, because he gravitated towards Shedeur, which is threatening the ecosystem in the locker room. And they didn't want that. So hence the retaliation, we're going to get rid of you. Or, he like, look, I'm talking to my agent. See if you can get me over there to the Bengals, because the Bengals made him a starter. See, that's when I look at that. They traded him for a 6th-round pick, which meant the Browns devalued him, but he went to start. So the Bengals won the trade, and so did Flacco. I think he wanted out. It said this is called coaching your players up. Yep. It said, Gracie said, lets me know that Stefanski doesn't know a damn thing about play calling or spotted talent. Right, which is why they've been sorry for so long. But the problem is going to come now. One, they still don't want to make the switch. They better go out here and win. They're going to have to use Quishon Judkins. They're going to have to do it. If you don't want to switch to Shedeur, and I don't think they do, I think that's a Haslam thing. If you had to be forced into drafting him because you took him off the board, then you restricted his movement. So now you got to bring Boitano in, and you probably want him for the end of the season just in case you got any chances. But I thought it was weird that Boitano was on vet rest with Dylan out here looking like who done it, right? So I think he's coming back. He part of that little clique. And then, you got Quishon. You let Quishon run for 110 yards in Europe. Why the hell wouldn't you run for 110 yards here? I'm like, come on now. And then Shedeur's best option is to be traded. I don't know if they clean house. Mid-season, they're gonna clean house for everybody. So maybe it's true he would be retaliated against. Like Max said, because I think to some extent, Cam, I think, them trying to move out his main target, that's crazy. It's like, okay, so you got you a new coach, but I'm going to take your main target. Luckily, he got Restrepo over there, and the fans seem to be pushing for Restrepo to play. Again, I don't follow them enough to know, but I was following them in the beginning, and I caught wind of what was going on. And I'm glad Callahan got fired. And for Browns people to want Callahan to come over there, they know what time it is. And they shouldn't even want that, which means they don't want to win either. It said, no, Stefanski needs to go. Barry, the money man. Okay. All right, Nicole. Priscilla said they are 3-4 now. Who are we talking about? The Bengals? They 3-4? Oh, okay. That was before. Okay, let me refresh. So when I refresh, it says, yep, they're 3-4. Wow. Okay. Pittsburgh is 4-2. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. And Callahan was 1-5. Stefanski 1-5. Both were 3-14 last year. And Callahan got fired. I'm just saying. It's gonna show you, it's gonna expose Haslam. That's what it's gonna do. Because you can't put Barry. I mean, you can't put Stefanski still working there on Barry. That ain't a Barry decision. That's a Haslam decision. And for y'all that don't know, and I don't know how you feel about basketball, I was reading today. Yes, it's true that Haslam is 25% ownership of the Milwaukee Bucks. But when he came through the door in 2020, he suggested, and they hired who he suggested, which is Doc Rivers. And mind you, I think the Bucks were 5th in the Eastern Conference, but I was listening to one of their players talk that how they're never going to be great because of Giannis, and he can't seem to play without his brothers, and he keep bringing in all his brothers, but the team don't get no better, and it's a mess. And I was like, common denominator, Haslam. But at least they were in 5th place. So interesting. Browns catching another L on their day off. Right. That's what people said. The Browns look worse now. I'm like, damn, they didn't even play it. That's what I said. If this was queued up right, if they were smart, They knew this game was coming. I didn't. I didn't. They knew they traded Flacco, that Flacco was gonna go against the Packers that they beat and that the Steelers that they lost to. They knew that, right? They knew Flacco was a starter over there. So they should have had it all queued up after the game if they already should be doing a coaching search or whatever, that Tommy Reese would be the interim manager and Stefanski could go as soon as that clock hit 0-0. That should have been it. And his computer password is gone. We gonna see. Because I don't think they want to win. I think they fine with what Stefanski doing. But are the fans seemingly not? Just that sample size of the 3,000 over there. And the Browns podcast, a local Browns podcast, I guess, basically tells you that the Browns fans, they're not even talking about Dylan no more. The two people that I showed you were basically talking about Shedeur. They ready to move on to Shedeur, or for Shedeur to move on so we can watch him play somewhere else. I need the NFL to stop colluding against Shedeur. Cleveland and Stefanski both suck. Yep. They said the Bengals had a bad O-line. They sure did. They sure did. They said the Bengals O-line was trash. They sure did. And I said when they played the Packers, I wanted to see how many times he got sacked. It wasn't nearly as many times as it wasn't nearly as many times. You know what I'm thinking? With Boitano resting last week with Dylan playing, you don't like Dylan, do you? No, you don't. Because you want to lose. You knew he was mediocre when you got him. You basically paying him to shut up because he should have been undrafted. So be happy you got this t-shirt. But you had Boitano out last week and you didn't run the ball with Quinshon Judkins and you let Dylan get sacked 6 times and you lost Geesh. You don't like Dylan. He's just useful. Ain't no way you like him and let him throw that ball 52 times with no touchdowns. And your best lineman is resting. What the hell is he resting for? It's the beginning of the season. Y'all ain't going to the playoffs. Well, Gage is out Sunday, so if Shedeur play, he don't have Gage, but I don't think it matter. I think everybody in Cleveland ready to move on to Shedeur, except for Stefanski and Haslam. People keep letting Haslam off the hook. It said, I'm happy for Joe. Me too. I was over here to my Flacco. I'm going to get me a Flacco jersey from eBay because I know they got one. I'm going to give me a Ravens one. I don't care which one it is. I wanted to say Flacco. I was over here to I hope he beat the osteoporosis out of Aaron Rodgers. I'm like, I don't have no problem with Flacco. I really didn't. I really didn't. At first, I didn't like him because he wanted to mentor Shedeur, but he got it together. He got it together real quick. Coach Tomlin saw it. Yep, he did. Because he knew, right? He knew it was ridiculous, number one, to probably bitch Flacco for Dylan. I'm like, you got Flacco off his couch and gave him $13 million in incentives because he would never hit him. You was going to always trade him. You just wanted him to get to games. You just wanted him to get to game 7. It said the 40 over 40 bowl. Facts. The AARP bowl. That's what they call it. It said, now sis, refresh your stat screen. Okay. All right. Let's see. I'm going to refresh it one more time. All right. Let's see. So what do I have with 31, 33? Okay. Aaron Rodgers. Oh, Aaron Rodgers had 249 yards and 4. He had 4 touchdowns. Flacco had 3 touchdowns. 31 of 47. Okay. With 342 yards. That's pretty good. He did pretty good. Flacco looked like he can go another year. What y'all think? Y'all think if Flacco could play another year? Let me know. I'm just curious to see what y'all think. All right, let's see. B. Thomas, how you doing? How you doing? It said Tomlin called this. He did. It said fire the Cleveland coach and the offense will be better. I think they just need to get a headset to Tommy Reese. Tell Flacco, you know what? We just gonna go in a different direction. Not Flacco, Stefanski. We just gonna go in a different direction. Meet him at the front door. Meet him at the front door with a banker's box. Just put all the stuff in it and just go here. No explanation needed. He know what time it is. He say he not worried about getting fired. Most arrogant people are never worried about getting caught, getting busted, getting fired, or getting locked up. Never. Never, never. The OG bowl. Facts. I like that better. I like that better than the AARP bowl. It said Restrepo was on the practice squad. Okay. So it looked like he might be active. So I'm gonna have to kind of keep one eye on the Titans and see what's going on. I'm rooting for Cam, right? I don't want them pit against each other. Cam has learned his lesson. He arrogant too. He arrogant too. But I think what Shedeur told him, they're gonna come for you. It has happened. But he survived it. He surviving in the tense of it's still happening, right? Trying to take Ridley. But again, he has Restrepo, just like Shedeur has Geesh, but he out Sunday. So I hate that, right? That kid got a concussion. And I saw a video where somebody posted Dylan been throwing hospital balls since high school. They showed one of his receivers going up for a ball, and I was like, and he never got back up. So I had to go move on to something else. I'm sure he's okay, but he was laid out for a minute. And now they starting to talk about Dylan's girlfriend because people don't really like Dylan like that, not as a person, because he's slick mouth, right? He always saying he like a little bad kid, and people they want you to buy into him. I said, when they bring out the girlfriend, they want you to look away from the player's personality and like the girlfriend. I think the Browns fans want to win games. I don't think they care about Dylan's girlfriend at all. Jets are begging for Shedeur. Really? I don't know if that's going to happen, but it could. Anything could at this point. They talking about because Shedeur finally go to the Raiders. I'm like, all of these quarterbacks out here, and y'all want to disrupt somebody that look like Shedeur. It's somebody else out there that need to be moved out the way. They need to be moved out the way. Cleveland is a terrible organization. Yes. It says Shedeur got to go. Dante says Shedeur is the one that needs to move on. Maybe he don't think it'll ever be right. It said, right, Shedeur has to get out of Cleveland. Maybe that's it. The environment is toxic for sure. So maybe it's definitely the toxicity is entrenched, right? You could see that trying to intimidate the players. I read it again. Judy was sharing a locker. His locker mate was Flacco. So you see, that was to force Judy from doing whom he knew previously from Colorado. I think it's the coaching. Yeah. It said Brown's front office is terrible. Yeah, I'm telling y'all, this is a Haslam problem. Coaching starts at the top. I bet if they had a new owner, like look at the Commanders, right? Right now, the Browns and the Commanders, the previous Commanders regime are the same, toxic from top to bottom, and they ended up in a congressional hearing forced to get new ownership. Now, the climate we live in, that's probably going to happen right now. It's just much other stuff going on. And Haslam knows that, right? And he got the right people in place to fend these people off. But that's what it is, right? I'm happy to see the Titans lean into Cam and away from this Callahan foolishness. That's a bright spot, right? But it's toxic. I've said that for the longest. It's toxic. And I don't know if only Stefanski moving out is enough because the culture comes from Haslam. And it's been toxic under Haslam for a long time, right? Deshaun Kaiser going 0-15. 15 weeks in a row losing. They prepared to do that again. Do y'all know they went 3-14 last year? They went 3-14 last year. Stefanski kept his job. They 1-5 now. Same record as Callahan. Callahan is gone. Let's see if they still making excuses for Stefanski after this game. I mean, how could you? It's obviously all the problems point to Stefanski. And if he mad at Barry, let's just say if he is, because they insist that they fell out. Then Barry traded away Flacco, knowing Pittsburgh was coming because he's smart. And he knew what was going to happen. It was going to point back at Stefanski. Could be because I said Shedeur was going to outproduce his draft stock. And if you don't play him, how the hell am I going to get my job done? Which could make Barry look bad. That Shedeur is devalued even further. Well, you the one wanted to get him, even though that ain't true. But that's how the conversation going to go. So if they are at odds, if Flacco got traded, I'm sure he's happy. If Barry saw the writing on the wall and saw an opportunity to set up Stefanski by way of the Steelers, Now, mind you, the Steelers called out Barry, so I don't know. I don't really know. I mean, anything is possible, but I personally think this is all Haslam. See, I'm the one talking about this is Haslam. This is the problem. He got to go. Because when you have like a toxic CEO, the company don't function well. They normally hire toxic people and it get worse. And then the good people leave. And the only thing that's left is the toxicity and the people that can't afford to quit their jobs. And they give up. They just come to work, collect the check, and keep it pushing. That's what the Browns are. One player, I forgot his name, he even said it. I don't even know. Greg Delpit. He said, I don't even know what winning feels like no more. People like, damn. It said, now we all know that Stefanski is not a good coach. Right. Right. You're right. Now we all know. We all know. Everybody on the same page. Let's see what excuses they make by tomorrow at noon. It said, and Joe only been there 2 weeks. Right. The man been there 2 weeks. Played 2 games. It's been 10 days. And he done balled out and the one. Ooh, that tells you why Joe Flacco was gravitating towards Shedeur after the Panthers game, because he knew Shedeur was a good player, but Stefanski was selling everybody. Oh, he can't do this. He can't learn plays. He trying to say he not cerebral. Who else said that? Yeah. They both need to go on a Saturday. Take Callahan with you. I need Dylan to stay healthy. Then let Deshaun play and trade Shedeur. Okay. Okay. Let Dylan stay healthy. Let Deshaun play. Deshaun will be back somewhere about around November. He is supposed to return to practice mid-October, probably end of October. This is an indictment against the Browns' inept management. Once again, organizational malpractice. I don't know where Fox 5 or News 5 is, but all of these news stations have investigative teams, but I guess they want to have, it's more important to have access to the Browns than to look out for the city, I guess, the players or whatever. This is why Mike asked Barry, why do you send Joe with the confidence, fire Kevin and Barry, and trade Dylan Gabriel, a hot mess? Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what the Browns look like a year from now. It said Joe been there 2 weeks and going on 300 yards with 3 touchdowns. That's a lot, right? That's a lot. And he was only sacked 1 time, right? Flacco! I'll be watching the Bengals now. I'm like, I'm just saying, Flacco ran for a first down. Oh, that's how he got them yards. Okay. All right. Because what did I say he had? I said, I had to refresh. All right, let's see the player stats. Let's see. Flacco was 5 carries for 3 yards. So he got his first down, huh? What? Okay, I was just looking at the rest of everybody. Let's see. Okay, defense. There we go. I had to refresh. Okay, now this is good. 8 of 4. That's good because I hadn't refreshed when I saw 5. Okay, the guy that they just got in, what was his name? Does anybody know the guy that they just, Campbell or somebody? I don't know the guy's name that they just brought in. Oh, they said because Geesh will be out Sunday, that Isaiah Bond is gonna have to do returns. I thought they were doing them together, but it looked like it's all on Isaiah Bond. So I hope Geesh get well soon. Geesh, get well soon. It said Flacco showed tonight. The problem in Cleveland is Stefanski. Facts. Stefanski is Dylan's love child. And Haslam is a dumb owner. Yeah, he's not a good owner. He's not. It says Shedeur been in Cleveland 6 months and they still saying he isn't ready. We can see why, right? Because the same reason Callahan was fired. Callahan was doing the same thing to Cam that Stefanski is doing to Shedeur. Except for Dylan is Will Levis. And Will Levis wasn't good last year. And they were trying to pit Will Levis against Shedeur, but Levis got hurt around the time all these quarterbacks start dropping like flies. And I was like, I don't know if he really hurt or if he like, I don't want to be in this. This was the same time that Kirk Cousins came out and said the Falcons lied to him and hoodwinked him and got him over there. And I feel like it was toxic over there. And remember, a player started trying to fight Cam? All of that was because of Callahan and how he was running the organization. The problem, the low morale, the losing mentality, not knowing what it feels like to win, constantly losing. This is on Stefanski and Haslam. Haslam is an owner. He know better. And that's not the only team he owns. It's just the only one that seems to be in ruins. It said chase game. It said close game, good win. Definitely means something is going on with the Browns and Stefanski's play calling. He not good. He just like Pat Schumer. Don't nobody want to watch Check Down City. Tua apologize for snitching. What? What's going on? What's going on? It said, at what you said, Stefanski was faking like he was an offensive guru. Right. It said the Waterboy DEI coach that fooled the NFL is getting coach of the year, which is crazy over Mike Tomlin. And then they had people sending out this post asking if Mike Tomlin was the coach of the Browns, saying that none of this will be going on. I'm like, is the owner still Haslam? Because if so, Mike Tomlin would never be the coach of the Browns. See, people want to blame Stefanski, and you should, but you got somebody else to blame too. Now, let's see how he get the heat off his back. I think he going to take Stefanski and push him in the ocean. This should really be a movie. It would be a thriller. It would really be a thriller. It said the Bengals were 2-4. Now they are 3-4, like CU. This is so interesting. Somebody pointed that out last year. They said, that's crazy how Colorado moves forward and wins a game, and something about the Browns. And I was like, something was happening at the same time. I don't know what it was, but Shedeur didn't play, so I don't know. But if I find it, I'll just share it again. I read a lot, so I just have to blow past some stuff. It said, I enjoyed looking at this game. Running game, not a lot of dink and dunk. Okay. It said free Shedeur. I think that's the mantra, guys. I think the mantra is free Shedeur. I really think that's it. I know there are people that are like, well, he already over there and Stefanski's a problem, so let's just move Stefanski out the way. Haslam is still there. People, now everybody knows Stefanski's the problem. How long before everybody realizes that Haslam is ultimately the problem? Let's see if it gets there. B. Thomas said no. The NFL gonna have to bow to pressure and place Shedeur because people are this close to realizing Haslam's the problem. And then people gonna realize the NFL is the problem. And they don't want that. They want you to think it's Stefanski. That's why I said Stefanski's just useful. Don't start Shedeur. Okay. I think it's hashtag free Shedeur. I think that's what might have to happen. They might need to move Shedeur out to cool this conversation before the fire starts scorching and getting up to Haslam. They're gonna have to make a change because the Browns fans are calling for Shedeur. The NFL is restricting Shedeur's movement, but I can't let y'all know that. So I gotta let y'all think it's Stefanski. Let's see how long Stefanski can deal with the heat. It said, I don't want to see Shedeur play for the Browns. Okay. It said, we know the truth now. Isaiah said, we know the truth now, AB. Yup, we do. It said, well, at least Cleveland got the deep and dunk player to look forward to. I'm telling you, they're going to put Boitano back out there. He's going to come off a rest. They're going to give Quinshon Junkins the ball. He's going to run 110 yards plus. And Dylan just going to check down. They're going to win. And they feel like that's going to be enough to douse the fire. Let's see if I'm right. Because I think that's where we headed. They got to do something to get this heat off of the Browns because people are forced to. See, they thought people would only pressure the team for Shedeur to play if they saw Shedeur play, which is why he had to look bad against the Rams. He couldn't win 2 preseason games. Now we know the problem is Stefanski. So now I got to save Stefanski. Go ahead and put Quinshon Junkins in. Let him get 110 yards like London and go and put Boitano back in because it's really too early for him to be rested. How are you resting at the beginning of the season? And then now he back. So let's see. Because they were blaming the O-line. Andrew Berry, it's his fault. They didn't get an O-line. Nobody said nothing about Boitano being on rest. I had to look that up. They just blamed certain people and they just were making excuses for Stefanski. It said, nope, let him keep learning. It said about Stefanski. Yep. It said Shedeur needs to get out of Cleveland. I think that might be the solution. I think he deserves somewhere else because Cleveland, it's just toxic. Like the environment, all of it, right? It's built on toxicity. It was never designed to win. It was designed to bury players' careers. That's a graveyard, like Tina said. It's a detention center, right? It's not intended to rehabilitate you. That's not the team you go to get better. Baker Mayfield had to go somewhere else first, and now he might be MVP. Flacco out here balling, so Shedeur can go somewhere else and ball too. It said Joe played a great game. Stefanski looks dumber than ever. Yup. The fact that people can see that, look, watching Stefanski, watching Flacco ball out proves that Stefanski's the problem in Cleveland. It speaks volumes. No more excuses. There's no more excuses after this. It said no go free 12. Yep, free 12. It said Dylan is a good enough backup in dodgeball. Hit it folks in the head. That was crazy. I thought Isaiah Bob was going to be injured. He was bad. I was like, how you hit your own receiver in the head? It said the Browns have a toxic culture and awful head coach. Stefanski's a problem. Agreed. It said leave Shedeur out of this mess. So that means don't play Shedeur. Just let them keep rolling on. It said, I don't trust Kevin. It said Kevin can't even say Shedeur's name. Now, that's true. That's true. Every now and then. It said the problem is Stefanski and his poor play calling. Yup. Flacco has Chase and Higgins. So you saying it's the wide receivers' fault? You know they could have got some wide receivers in the draft. But what did they draft? 2 running backs, a defensive tackle, a tight end. They didn't get no running back. They didn't get no wide receivers. And they did not get any linemen, which meant with Dylan, he was going to be check down. Now they have 2 wide receivers. They have Quinshon Judkins, Jerome Ford, Dylan Sampson, and somebody else. Why are they not using them? Why was Boitano resting while Dylan was getting kicked all up and down the field? Is Stefanski, to save himself, about to push Dylan into the ocean? Book seems to think so. He said something about people going to be surprised about Stefanski doing what he got to do. I'm like, okay, because he should be resigning. That's what he should be doing. That's what he should be doing. He should feel bad for holding back the team. But arrogance, that'll never happen. It said Flacco did have some good wide receivers, and they caught the ball 88% of the time. It says Shedeur Sanders wants to play because he's a baller. Yeah, he is a baller, and he is ready. It said, ain't nobody come to see you, Dylan. There you go. It said, again, God works in mysterious ways. Even if this is the only game Flacco wins, the point has been proven that the Bengals coaching is better. That is facts. That is the point that was proven. The environment is different. The coaching is better. That's the most obvious part is coaching matters. So maybe moving on exposes Stefanski, but that still has him tired. Like they said, he should have been gone 2 years ago. That's on Haslam. That ain't on Barry. Not that I'm taking up for him because he should go too. It said Flacco had decent protection. It said, I called the Browns today and snapped about Shedeur. You called them up? What'd you do? Leave a voicemail? Antoine, let us know. It said, at this point, Shedeur will play with a hurt and a bad O-line. And I don't want to see anything happen to Shedeur. Stefanski will get Shedeur hurt just to keep losing. Yep. I don't really think the goal is to win. I don't. And the reason I think that is because you didn't get any receivers. You didn't get an O-line, which means you didn't get anybody to protect your quarterback. And in the game that Dylan played in London, Quinshon Judkins ran the ball for 110 yards. But over here, you rest your best lineman and you don't let the Quinshon Judkins carry the ball more than 50, 60 yards or whatever. So Dylan was used to be the quarterback that they used to lose with because he was mediocre. They're not trying to win. They weren't trying to win when they went 3-14. So this mess started last year. And Callahan thought, well, I went 3-4 last year. I guess I could go 3-14 again, and maybe I move Cam out. Callahan was trying to make the point that Cam isn't the guy by them losing. Just like Stefanski tried to make the point in the Rams game that Shedeur is not the guy. Wouldn't surprise me if they talked to each other because they were doing the same thing. The surprise came when Callahan got fired instead of Cam getting bitched for Will Levis or the other guy. I know them people like, I just paid him $48 million. I'm not bitching him. When you trying to make him look bad, I think people on the Titans side talked to the Titans management and was like, this kid is trying to win. The coaching is bad. Let's see what happens next. Because they showed trying to take away his main target, but let's see if Restrepo replaces him. We'll see. Because it seems like Cam got some influence over there. That's what I noticed. I'm like, wait a minute. Cam got some influence in Tennessee now. Interesting. It said we flipping tables if Shedeur get hurt. Facts. So just leave him on the bench. Just leave him on the bench. It said Shedeur should play and call audibles. Yeah. It said, love your show, sis. Thank you, Antoine. I appreciate it. Thank you. It said they won't win a game until Shedeur plays. It said they've had several chances to do right by him and choose to continue with the alienation and lack of reps. Agreed. I'm going to put a star by this. You get the crown of the day. That's excellent commentary. They won't win a game until Shedeur plays. They've had several chances to do right by him and choose to continue to alienate him and persist with lack of reps. I do agree with the last two parts. I don't think they tried to win this game with Dylan going 52 reps. I think instead they knew it wouldn't work out because they did run the ball with Quishon. They did have their best lineman in, and they already had the excuses ready. Like, well, it's only his second game, which means they were going to make excuses all the way to the end. Or they were going to bring in what's his name? Deshaun, like November time frame, because I think he can come back for sure and play in November. So the fact that they already had the excuses ready, they weren't trying to win. They're not trying to win the season. They don't want Shedeur to get out there and win at all because they want to use that first round pick on another quarterback. If Shedeur go out there and ball out, if just something happened, Dylan fall on the bar soap. And Soda's what's the other one name that's on the practice squad, and they can't get nobody else in time, and Shedeur got to play, and he go out there and ball out like Flacco did, or even better, it's gonna be hard for them to say, we want to get another quarterback. The fans like, look here, time out. This is enough. This is the quarterback right here. That's what they don't want. They don't want to be forced to be committed to Shedeur like they were in the draft. This is their karma, that they ended up with a player that they baited and switched. That's why they look like that on draft night. They did all of that, knowing they were never going to get him. This mess started last year. That's why they went 3-14. It said players will be excited to play with Shedeur. I think so too, because for one, it's an exciting play. They get the opportunity to truly compete. They're not getting the chance to compete. The defense is supposed to go out there and be the heroes. I heard Miles is livid. Right. And that's why it's crazy to me that the defensive coordinator supports Myles Garrett sharing his frustrations. But then Bortano comes out and says, no, there's no infighting. Right. There's no infighting because they've all given up because they're frustrated like Myles Garrett. But the vet that was rested was sent out there to calm the masses. Oh, no, everything is good. There's no infighting. How is there no infighting if your highest paid player, Myles Garrett, is allowed to share his frustrations by his defensive coordinator? They sent Myles Garrett to be the spokesperson. And he's going to keep being the spokesperson because he don't have a problem with doing it. Jerry Jeudy should, because he ain't got nothing to lose. They're going to get rid of him anyway. It said, I hate that Shedeur Sanders has to go through this. I do too. I really do. But everything happens for a reason. And he's learning something about the NFL. I don't think he knew. I don't think nobody knew all of this. I know I didn't. I'm like, this is insane. This is crazy how it truly operates. It said Dollar General tried to DED Gage. Tried to dead Gage. I hope he is all healed up when Shedeur starts. Yeah. I wish him well. I don't trust Mary Kay either. She talks out both sides of her mouth. I totally agree. I think Flacco asked to leave too. Yep, I think he did. I think he like, you know what? I'm sick of this. I'm trying to win. You came and got me off my couch. I'm not getting off my couch for just $4 million. So you lace me up with $13 million in incentives, and he figured out he wasn't gonna never get there. He figured out, oh, you just gonna let Dylan play. You gonna hold Shedeur back. You're not gonna give us a real chance to win. I'm not gonna get to that $13 million. Calls up his agent. Hey, see if you can get me over there to the Bengals. It's not a coincidence he's starting over there. And they traded him for a lowly 6th-round pick. No disrespect to 6th-round picks. But when he came through the door, oh, we got the Super Bowl winning Flacco and this, that, and the other. What happened to why he couldn't be traded for a 5th-round pick? They loved that 5th-round pick. They were trying to send a message. He wanted out. Yep. I totally agree, Val. It says Stefanski is a terrible coach. Yep. Just rotten. It said, I agree with you. Yeah, I think he wanted out too. It says Shedeur Sanders is giving away a card. Yep. Which people, they should be talking about that. Are they? Nope. Bengals fans are going crazy. Joe is showing joy at the post-game sit down with Chase and a TNF crew. Oh, okay, good. I'm happy. And it's funny when the players leave, they really do well. They seem to have a weight off of their shoulders. What did Huntley say? He didn't want to come back. He was over there on the practice squad. They elevated him to play, was it last week? Yep. Just sad. It said, yeah, they traded Flacco for a 5- and 6th-round pick again. Coaching makes the difference. Yep. It said Flacco hung a 33 on Pittsburgh, so now you see it. It's Kevin and his dink and dunk offense. Yep. It said Giannis says he's leaving the country for Greece. When he finds what? When he's fine with when he's finished with basketball, he going back to Greece. Yeah, they got some inner turmoil over there, and it's surrounded him. And they keep, because he was a starter team, they keep accommodating him and bringing out his brothers, but they're not helping to get to the next level. So I heard that today. Then I was like, has him a part on over there. Let me look. He got 25% stake, and he did pick Doc Rivers. Okay. Doc Rivers is a snake. Yep. He kept the player out of the game so he wouldn't let his players wouldn't get the bonus. Wow. That's crazy. Done with basketball. I got you. It said Bengals ownership may be known to be cheap, but they want to win. So yeah, they want to win for less. They want to be like Ross. The Bengals like, look, we want to win, but we want to win for less. We want to be Ross. That's what it is. That's crazy. Yeah, it does look like they want to win because they did get him and let him start. They ain't playing no games. It says some of that Shedeur magic rubbed off on Joe Flacco. Watching Shedeur make throws and giving him the nod. Yeah. And they didn't like that. They didn't like that at all. That's why I said I think they retaliated against him. But I think he wanted out. I think he made something happen. And again, all these other players don't have that luxury. It said Barry did his job. His job is to find and figure out how to pay them. These guys clearly can't play because when they leave, they ball out, which means the head coach doesn't know how to coach the talent. That's true. I still don't like Barry, but that's true. It said, just goes to show Kevin is the holdback. It said Joe traded. Look how good he's playing now. So any quarterback playing under Kevin will not look good. That's true. So maybe that goes into the no, Shedeur doesn't need to play #free Shedeur because playing under Stefanski, not it. Right. And I don't know how it's going to be playing under Tommy Reese if Flacco's still in the building. I mean, not Flacco, if Stefanski is still in the building. You know what I mean? Like, I think I need him to be fired gone. And then the culture changes, but I don't know if that's going to happen, guys. But #free Shedeur. I wish they would stop calling these football players kids. The NFL is an evil organization. Shedeur Sanders is winning because he really is a young man. Yeah. It said, I still call them kids too. Well, not the NFL. In college, I do. It said now the narrative that the Bengals wanted Shedeur first will rest now. Yeah, I don't think the Bengals wanted Shedeur. I think this was all Flacco. The fact that he's starting over there and they only traded him for a 6th-round pick, I feel like he wanted out. Whether he gravitated towards Shedeur and they got pissed off or not, he set it up. So I don't care what nobody say. He used the fact that that's what happens for his advantage, and he wanted out. Boitano, number 75, did not block for Shedeur. Boitano, he needs to retire. They said something about this his last year. That's what I mean by the team is toxic. Kevin Stefanski was able to ensnare an entire squad into not blocking for Shedeur and cutting them the next day. He was able to take Shedeur out of a game at the 2-minute drill that he could have executed and probably won or whatever, and put in Huntley, using him like a tool, knowing Huntley was already on the chopping block. And Huntley, this is why Huntley don't want to come back, because he realized it. And I watched Huntley walk over to the side and Stefanski talk to him and narrate a word to Shedeur from Stefanski. This is why Huntley didn't want to come back. Flacco not going to want to come back. You know Baker Mayfield don't want to come back. You know Johnny Manziel wouldn't want to come back. The guy that said his coaches don't talk to him either. You know, Odell Beckham Jr., I don't know if he would, but chances are no. He probably traumatized. Yep. It said once Kevin is the coach, we don't need Kevin making Shedeur look bad. Agreed. Bridget said, I cheer for Joe too. He treated Shedeur well in the face of Cleveland's crap. He did. I'll give you that. Blind Beauty said, that's what Pittsburgh get, because they could have had Shedeur too, but they went with old man Aaron. That's true. They passed up on a franchise QB to get Aaron Rodgers. And after the domestic violence allegations came out, he was like, this is my last year. I bet it is, because they don't want to talk about that. It said, hey, leave the over 40 crowd alone. That's why I said, just call it, what did we say we was going to call it? The OG Bowl or whatever. It said, told y'all Kevin ain't right. He not. And I'm glad everybody now on the same page. It said both of the Minnesota Vikings quarterbacks are mediocre. Right. They could have had Shedeur. Remember Shedeur had a Vikings hat? But no, they want to hold on to J.J. McCarthy. And when they realized this ain't going to work out with J.J. McCarthy in his second year, they went and got Carson Wentz off his couch. 2% battery life. Carolina Panthers are in the hunt for Shedeur. People keep saying that. It said it would be nice to see Jimmy Horn Jr. and Shedeur back together, but it would kill Bryce Young. Right. If you see all the teams Shedeur can go to, we've talked about this before, there's already a black quarterback. So it would be to devalue a CJ Stroud, to devalue Bryce Young, to devalue Justin Fields. That's all they want to do. That's it. That's why I don't support it. So, and to me, that's why he didn't end up going to New Orleans from a guy perspective, because they had already done Spencer Rattler dirty. Did y'all see the NFL? I think Sharon, was it the NFL? Or maybe it was just sports related. It seemed like everybody was sharing Shiloh's content. I was like, did I see the NFL share his content? I don't know. But I think it was just maybe a lot of football type media publications. I'm like, they all jumped on that, didn't they? It said Flacco beat the Steelers tonight and the Steelers destroyed Cleveland on Sunday. Guys, how toxic Cleveland is. It is definitely that. It said Flacco was throwing the ball down the field. Joe looks so much longer. And that is something that Kevin Stefanski tries to kill, which is exactly what Pat Schumer did to Kaden Salter. That's what it was. Kaden Salter ended up with a 92 and balled out this week. Flacco got traded, and now he over there balling out. It proves that what I said, Schumer and Stefanski both need to be fired on a Saturday. Just get rid of them. It don't have to be a work day, meaning expeditiously. Meaning if it come to your thought process on Friday at 5 o'clock, do it anyway on a weekend, because it's urgent to get them out the building, because they're toxic. They come in with this mindset of they're not playing football. They're trying to play with these black players' lives. They're not trying to win games. That's the sad part. I put Callahan in that group too. That's why when he got shot, I'm like, whoa, okay, maybe there's hope, right? It said Deshaun will never play for the Browns again. They will be able to recoup that money. People keep saying recoup what money? Recoup what money? That money after November for next year's cap. You do know they didn't have to pay Deshaun this year. I don't know how many years they haven't had to pay Deshaun because he's been injured damn near every year, which is not a coincidence. But they already recouped his salary because they never had to pay it. There was nothing to recoup because the $46 million salary was paid by the insurance company. Now, the question is, when he was injured last year, did the insurance company pay part of his salary? When he was injured year before, did the insurance company pay part of his salary? And if the answer is yes, then this was the plot from the beginning before they shelled out to $230 million. Because when we started following the Browns, all you heard was Deshaun Watson will never play another snap in the NFL. I'm like, how can you be so certain? Because that was the plan. It's a graveyard for him too. I don't think he realized that yet. But they might need him to keep Shedeur out the way because they're going to pit two black quarterbacks against each other. They know Dylan is not the answer. They're fully aware of that. But let's see if they're ready to give Deshaun the throne. Quinshon Judkins the throne, because that's who's going to have to get it. It said, I believe that Joe asked for the trade. He didn't want to sit around Dylan Gabriel and disagree with how Stefanski treated Shedeur to the pair. I think so too. I believe that's exactly why he wanted out. I really do. Evidently, none of the Browns players understand that offense and play calling. Behind Dylan Gabriel, I got you. Tua snitched on his teammates about being late and not showing up for practice. What? Oh, Lord. Maybe they can get his wide receiver then. You leave Spencer Rattler alone, goddammit. He over there trying to ball out. Saints better stop playing. Trade Shedeur. He doesn't need to play. That O-line won't protect for him. And Dylan is going to get his receiver hurt because of those middle of the field passes. And did, because Geesh is out with a concussion again. I'm like, he had to miss another game. It said, oh my God, the Bengals fans are chanting, thank you, Cleveland. The Bengals fans are cheering, thank you, Cleveland. Amazing. All right, y'all, we down to the bottom comment. I got to get out of here because it's almost 2 hours. Cleveland is a joke. Facts. Hit the like button. Yes, please hit the like button. How many of us is it? It's 262 of us. Hit the like button for me, please. Thank you. It said the post-game crowd is literally chanting, thank you, Cleveland. You can't make this up. No, I'm going to put a star by that. You cannot make that up. Hey, Jackie, how you doing? So that's it. All right, y'all. We out of here. Flacco can win at least 4 more games. He can. Yeah, he can. Good night. All right, on that note, we're going to get out of here. All right, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow, 10:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is a bye week for Colorado. I saw Coach Prime and Snow on the PJ, might be headed back to Texas, so they are officially on vacation. Maybe we watch the Titans play this weekend. Maybe we watch Travis Hunter, and don't forget BJ Green is active, so he's playing as well. And don't forget we got Jimmy Horn Jr. and we got Zay Weaver and LeJounte. Even though Baltimore is struggling, LeJounte's still over there and making some plays. All right, y'all, we're gonna get out of here. This was awesome. Thank y'all for sharing your thoughts, following the game, and for some of the other issues that we talked about. And we'll see y'all tomorrow. Thanks for watching What She Said Sports. Have a good night, everybody. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Don't forget, use my code NOLAGIRL at whatshesaidsports.com and get yourself some cute Halloween gear. Have a good night. NOLAGIRL, all caps at checkout. Peace. Thank you for watching What She Said Sports. Be sure to join our daily live stream and listen up to What She Said Sports on the go on Spotify. Thank you for watching What She Said Sports. Stay for another video.